there, welcome to Football-Oranje. Today we're doing a little something special with Jeroen Thijssen, who is an expert when it comes to Football Manager. We're going to be telling you some absolute brilliant young wonder kids to get on Football Manager 2022 when it comes to the Dutch Eredivisie. Jeroen, how are you, and how do you know so much?
Hey, hi everybody, and thank you for having me, Michael. So yeah, for those that don't know me, I am Jeroen Thijssen. I am the head of Dutch and also German research for Football Manager, game that we all know and love on PC, and also on the Xbox One and Xbox S, I think it is these days. Yeah, I'm responsible for the Dutch and German research. And we have several assistants helping us for the Dutch and the German teams, but we're focusing on Holland for this podcast. Several people that help me with several teams. And essentially we watch games, we scout, we judge the players, and what we see in real life, either by our eyes and also using data. Yeah, we give them ratings in the game of Football Manager, and as they are in real life, that is how they more or less should be in the game. The thing about Football Manager is that the players can develop in a good way, or sometimes decline, as they might happen in real life. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, the game is fantastic. I think it's very addictive. I've tried to steer away from it just because of how addictive it is, because I know what I'm like. But I seem to cave into the game, and I think people, when they listen to this, they're keen to grab some names. Should we get out of the way first of all the names in the game of some wonder kids who we probably know quite well already?
Yeah. Let me start with the familiar ones that you will probably already know. Yeah, but these are players that are either already good or star players in the Eredivisie. Dutch internationals. There's one or two actually non-Dutch players, but they are in the Eredivisie, and we believe that they will be, if not already, massive talents. Those are a couple of players at Ajax, De Wijnrench, Jurien Timber, Ryan Gravenberg, Kenneth Taylor, Mohamed Darami, and Mohamed Kudus.
Those are some great names, and before we go into some players which people might not be quite so aware of, why are these players, in short, so good? Is it just all round that they're excellent players?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the youth system in Holland, it's really very good. Right now, I've named the current established Ajax players already, but it's not just Ajax; it's PSV as well. It's AZ, Feyenoord. And even a couple of teams outside of these have really talented players. It's just slightly below this batch, but you're going to find stars at slightly lower sides as well. Basically, yeah, these players have been groomed. They've been talented ever since they started playing football when they were 11, 12 years old, and they've just gotten better and better. And yeah, obviously it depends on the player. But if you look at the Dutch system, especially looking at Ajax, but the other teams do it as well, they try to mold the players and being very versatile. I mean, you've got Rens, you've got Timber, you've got Gravenberg. They all have their major position. So Rens and Timber are centre defenders, but they can play on the right. They can play in centre midfield. Something that a lot of Dutch teams have been doing with so many players. Gravenberg can play 3 or 4 positions. So many examples of that. And they're all technically skilled. They've got fine physique, they're pacey. They are reasonably two-footed. And I think that goes for quite a lot of the talents in the Dutch leagues. Yeah.
Great. Let's move on to some of the other guys then. We've got the main ones out of the way, which people could guess already. Tell us about some more Eredivisie young players who you can pick up on the game.
Yeah. So one more that I should mention is for the maybe for the English players. Yeah, that might be for the English rules in the game. Is that PSV's Noni Madueke? He's also it's pretty much a must-buy if you can. Then we've got a couple that are really up and coming, and you might have heard of as well there. And then you've got a couple of guys that are coming up. Gabriel, Misehouy, Amaricho van Axel Dongen. They're not the easiest names. Sorry about that. Naci Unuvar, who's quite familiar probably already. Was a big star in FM21 already as well. David Kaloko is coming up. Jayden Addai. They're not at Ajax. There's other teams as well. AZ have this brilliant fast winger, can play as a striker as well. But I think his main strength is his speed. Very pacey. Ernest Poku, that's it.
Yeah.
And then we have Anthony Milombo, Isaac Babadi, Jevon Simons, and Jason van Duiven.
Milambo is known to be someone with really high potential. We did a podcast with a Feyenoord expert in the past, and he really picked him out that he could be almost like Wijnaldum with his potential, potentially. So big things expected from him.
Yeah.
And those are from some of the bigger teams, aren't they?
There's a few more that are just below there.
What kind of club would you be looking at if you were to take these players on?
Yeah, you'll probably need to be quite a big club because they're already at the big Dutch clubs. So they're not going to get rid of them easily. But if you're a top Premier League side, if you're let's say Bayern Munich, if you're a top Spanish side, you should be able to land these players. But it will be don't pin me down on the number, but it will probably be something like 25 million,
right? Maybe
20. Obviously, that's also a variable. If there's something wrong with the club, if they're struggling, if they need to get rid of a couple of players, if for some reason some of these players are not important players yet, the talents and the AI might consider, okay, all right, yeah, there's this nice right winger coming up, but that will take maybe 3 years. The AI might sign a very good right winger to fill in for the next 2 or 3 seasons, which might mean that let's say Ernest Poku, let's say Anthony Milombo becomes actually superfluous according to the AI, and then you will be able to pick him up for much less.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah, cool. Yeah. How about lower down the table then? So if you maybe are not quite one of the biggest sides, what kind of players could you pick up? Of course, you can get the Keuken Kampioen Divisie on Football Manager 2022 as well. And there are some excellent players down there too, if you set the league to being active whilst you're playing the game. Give us some names from teams down that league, because I know that it can be an awful lot cheaper as well in that league.
Yes. Yeah. The thing about the Dutch second tier, so the Keuken Kampioen Divisie is a team that is a league that is actually it's not bad, but if you look at the wages, if you look at the clubs, they need their money. So if you're a big club, you can probably steal a couple of talents for a bargain, maybe a couple million for some really decent talents. And there are quite a few clubs in that second tier as well that don't have instant Man City stars, but there are quite a few teams with a good youth setup. And that will have players that you can pick up. So I can name 5, although one is on loan from Utrecht, but could still be an option. They're not, there could be backup players, cheap pickups could always be nice. They're not stars that I expect at Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, those kinds of top clubs, but.
Some people listening were thinking, perfect.
Yeah,
this is what I need.
Exactly. I need a decent player for my Swansea, for example. Yeah. So the first one I want to mention is a right back that can also play midfield. Has been banging in some brilliant goals for Volendam. It's a guy called Denso Casius. They've loaned him from Utrecht. Utrecht actually have a few right backs in the first squad as well. So, yeah, could be one of those players where the AI will think, you know what, we don't really need him. You can buy him for a decent amount. He's an interesting kid. He's slightly further than the next ones that I'll mention. Casius is, I think he's a year older. He's had a bunch of games already, but he's doing really well. The next one that I'll mention could grow up to become a massive, the Graafschap favorite. He's looking like a really good talent. He's in the Dutch under-19 squad. Striker called Devin Haan. Two kids at Almere City. One is already pretty much in the first team. It's called Stije Resink. Creative attacking midfielder, central player. And another one is still in the under-21s. I believe it could be quite good. It can be part of... I think it will be part of the first team after the winter break. It's a guy called Riley Reimnet. Strong, physical, good technician, central midfield, can play 8, can play as a 10, good player. And then we have one kid at VVV, which might even be the biggest talent. He's tough to grasp how talented he will be. Creative attacking player, can play wide, can play as a 10, can even play up front. Scored a couple of brilliant goals already. It's a kid called Wasim Isanusi. I think he's already been scouted by Ajax, Feyenoord and PSV, but he's chosen to stay at VVV for the time being, just to get the games in. But probably out of these 5, Wasim Isanusi is the biggest talent. Multifunctional as well. Him and Devin Haan are probably to really load up your game. Have a look at these two and see how they are already. Current ability wise, you might think, yeah, I'm not that convinced, but give them 2, give them 3 seasons, and they're going to be good.
Well, Jeroen, thanks very much for those players. A really good rundown of who they are. Of course, you could pick out those big names straight away. So it's great that we got to learn some more about some players that you may be able to pick up for cheap prices, or those sort of very excellent players that you can pick up as being a top team too. So thank you very much for all those stats on FM22. And if you've got any questions for Jeroen, do leave them down below, and of course we'll get back to you. But enjoy playing the game, and it's another good one, I think.
Yes, play the game. It will be out on November 9th. It will be there on PC, on the Xbox, and there's also an easy, a little bit downscaled version for your phone and all your tablets and all that good stuff. Yeah, you can get it from the SI Games website. You can get it from Steam, and it's easy like that. Yeah, really.
Thanks again, Jeroen, and thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you for having me, Mike.